Did you know that you could read all the magazines you love in one place and without limits? On Zenio Unlimited, with more than 5,000 titles to choose from, more than 25 different categories, there's something for everyone. You can use it on the web or app for iOS and Android, create your own library, customize your reading experience with your own personal style, and even read offline. Visit ZenioUnlimited.com to get your 30-day free trial now and start reading. That's ZenioUnlimited.com.
Welcome to the TechMobility Podcast.
I'm Ken Chester. I want to talk about something that I have told you was coming, and it's in response primarily to many of you who have said, you know, EVs, nobody wants EVs. They're expensive, they're slow, they take forever to charge, nobody wants them. And I kept telling you, now for almost 2 years, that Chevrolet is coming out with a game changer, that they would be bringing out an all-electric Equinox that they said at the time, and this is 2 years ago, they said would have a starting price of less than $30,000. I'm here to tell you, in full disclosure, I own a 2018 Chevrolet Equinox LT front-wheel drive. I did not buy it new. I bought it used with 25,000 miles, and I love it. It does everything well. It is not flashy. It is not fast, but it is a fine balance of utilitarianism, fuel economy. It does what I need it to do, and the best of all, it's paid for. So I like that part. Chevrolet 2025 Equinox EV has a model that starts at under 30 grand. By comparison, that is the same price of my 2018 Chevy Equinox, which was a mid-range model then. And they are charging that amount of money. It's competitive. And yes, if you want to spend the money, you can gin up the price of an Equinox EV to rival pretty close to what a Blazer will cost you. And that would put you pretty close in the $50,000 range. That can be done. That absolutely can be done depending on what you want and how you want to equip it. But this is the thing. I had an opportunity to walk around a prototype of the brand new Equinox, the Chicago Auto Show. Needless to say, I gave the Chevy fella an earful. Now, Chevy is hedging their bets with the new Equinox because they're not just building an EV. They are building a gas version of this vehicle also. Not a hybrid. They're going to build a pure EV, and they are building a gasoline version. The EV is wider and a little shorter than the gasoline version. The gasoline version is going more truck-like. They're getting rid of my Premier trim, which I liked and wanted to aspire to, because they believe that they could go sporty, that they could go more rugged, which is what their lineup is evolving into, and snag a lot of the buyers that they haven't been able to get. Because even though Chevy has sold over 4 million Equinoxes in the last 20 or so years, they've never been higher than third place with all the ones that they sell. There's a lot of us out here, a lot of Equinox owners out here, particularly after the 2018 redesign. That's what got me. Here's my issue. And I have several. You know, they tell you if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm not the only person to bring up what I'm about to bring up. Another journalist, friend of mine, who owns an Equinox, said the same thing. One of the things that Chevy underestimated was the fact that right now, in the 2018 to 2024 Chevy Equinox, the second row, 50-50 split seats, fold flat, and I mean flat, with the cargo floor. It's trick. It's wonderful. I did not realize how much of that I was going to need. I I had no idea. But being a family man with kids and grandkids, all kinds of things, I have used it countless times. Guess what? Both versions of the new vehicle, have a lip now of at least an inch and a half. It doesn't fall flat anymore. There's a rise. And I called them out on it. I said, why did you do that? That makes it less utilitarianism for me because I can't slide stuff all the way in now. Oh, well, it's just a prototype. It's not the final thing. And then I find out, no, that is what it is. Another thing, that's me. And I'm going to talk about the gas version for a minute. They didn't give me a new engine, and they gave me a continuously variable automatic on the low end. And if you go all-wheel drive, you'll get an 8-speed automatic, which both replace the 6-speed automatic that's currently in there now. I would have liked more torque. That's the way they chose to go. Getting back to the EV, I wanted more range. I want more range. I need more range. They're in anywhere from the high 200s to low 300s. They're almost there, but they're not quite. I need 100 miles more range, Chevrolet, in order for this to work, particularly out here in the Midwest where we drive our vehicles, that even if you're in the city, if you turn the key, you're going 20 miles. I don't care what you're doing, you're going 20 miles. Your trip is going to be a 20-mile trip. I don't know. I'm not thrilled about that. But let me get back to this. GM is working to reduce vehicle complexity across its lineup. Chevy streamlined the Equinox trim options to the base LT, the Sporty RS, and a new off-the-road style Active, and that's ending with a V. It carried over the 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, the one I complained about. But now there are two transmissions, that continuously variable one and an 8-speed automatic, but you only get the 8-speed if you go all-wheel drive. We've got a bigger infotainment screen, thank you, because you used to only can get that with the Premier, and now all of them get it, and I'm great, and it's bigger, and I've seen it, I've liked it. But my question for Chevrolet, being a Equinox owner, is if I wanted to go a little luxury, which is what I could have did with the Premier, how do I get there now? Because you're going base, sporty, and kind of off-road styled. Nowhere do I see a chance to make it a little more luxurious. Because honestly, me and the Equinox are never going off-road. It's not happening. And if they were going to go that far, then GM, I would need modes. I would need drive modes. And this vehicle does not have them, either the EV or the gasoline version. You don't get drive modes. And you know what? For the Equinox, that's okay, because most of us that drive them aren't going off-road. I would be curious with the Active. I have not driven one, and I'm looking forward to drive one. But my understanding, and I've read it anywhere, that it does not have drive modes. You'd have an off-road, snow, sport drive modes, which take your engine to another place and gives you some additional options as a driver to respond to road conditions and situations, which is why I like it. And pretty much everything now, including some cars, have drive modes. Nowhere in here do I see drive mode Chevrolet. So if you're not going to give me a more powerful engine than the gas and the EV, I'm not getting the mileage, but okay. I'm still not getting drive modes in either version. So, what's going to happen? I should also tell you, and you may not have realized this, the Chevy Equinox is actually based on the outgoing Chevy Malibu, which was an awesome car, which is going to be, as of now, will be, if it's not out of production now, will be in the next few weeks. And the last time it was redesigned was back in 2015 and had not really been redesigned since then. But the car was still selling, and selling decently, actually, considering the marketplace. How will the new Equinox do? Gasoline or EV? And there's no hybrid version. We'll see. Right now, the market's aiming towards hybrids. The Equinox does not currently offer one. We'll see what happens. I'd be very curious. And I'll let you know when I get a chance to drive each. And I hope I get to drive both the EV and the gas version in the next year. Hyundai's pulled out all the stops with its all-new Santa Fe SUV. My impressions are next. You are listening to the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
Social media is the main place to be these days, and we are no exception. I'm Ken Chester, the Tech Mobility Show. If you enjoy my program, then you will also enjoy my weekly Facebook videos. From my latest vehicle reviews to timely commentary of a variety of mobility and technology-related topics, these short features are designed to inform and delight you. Be sure to watch, like, and follow us on Facebook. You can find us by typing the Tech Mobility Show in the search bar. Be sure to subscribe to our Facebook page. Social media is the place to be these days, and we're no exception. I'm Ken Chester of the Tech Mobility Show. If you enjoy my program, then you will also enjoy my weekly Instagram videos. From the latest vehicle reviews to timely commentary on a variety of mobility and technology-related topics, these short features are designed to inform and delight you. Be sure to watch, like, and follow us on Instagram. You can find us by typing the Tech Mobility Show in the search bar. For those of you that listen to podcasts, we have just the one for you. Hi, I'm Ken Chester. Tech Mobility Topics is a podcast where I upload topic-specific videos each week. Shorter than the full show, these bite-sized programs are just the thing, particularly if you're interested in a particular topic covered on the weekly radio show. From Apple Podcast to iHeartRadio and many podcast platforms in between, we got you covered. Just enter Tech Mobility Topics in the search bar wherever you listen to podcasts.
More people are winning with the Hyundai Santa Fe. It's loaded with standard features for $4,400 less than a Toyota Highlander when comparably equipped. Now available with four-wheel drive with traction control and a more powerful 3.5-liter engine. And only Hyundai has America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. The 2004 Hyundai Santa Fe starting at just $17,084 with utility package. With Hyundai, you win. Come in now for great deals on all 2004 Hyundais.
Wouldn't you love to buy a brand new Santa Fe for less than $18,000? That, sir, was 20 years ago. 20. And the Santa Fe has evolved quite a bit since then. It was the automaker's first SUV when it was introduced back in 2000. Named for a city in New Mexico, hey Santa Fe, they're also listeners, so I thought I'd shout. The new SUV marked a milestone in the company's restructuring program because it was a hit with American motorists. Manufactured in the United States since 2007, the Santa Fe is also assembled in South Korea, China, Vietnam, and Indonesia. In its almost 25-year run, the Santa Fe was Hyundai's version of a vehicle Swiss Army knife, evolving to be a number of things for a number of consumers in various markets around the world. The Hyundai Santa Fe is a mechanical sibling of the Hyundai Santa Cruz in Tucson, as well as the Kia Sorento and Sportage. The fifth-generation Santa Fe was fully unveiled on August 10, 2023, and production began later that year for the 2024 model year. Hyundai designed the newest Santa Fe to appeal to a growing outdoor lifestyles of its intended customers. And believe it or not, its boxy shape was designed to reduce wind drag, turning in a lower number than the outgoing model. That surprised me too. The new SUV is longer in wheelbase and overall length than the outgoing model. Available in 5 trim levels, gasoline or hybrid powertrains, base power is provided by a 2.5-liter turbocharged gasoline 4-cylinder engine that generates 277 horsepower and 311 foot-pounds of torque. Energy is communicated to the drive wheels via an A6MF 2H-2 8-speed automatic transmission. Economy-minded consumers can select a hybrid powertrain, which consists of a 1.6-liter turbocharged gasoline engine, an electric motor, and a 44.2 kilowatt-hour battery pack. The hybrid powertrain makes a combined 231 horsepower and 271 foot-pounds of torque. Energy is communicated to the drive wheels via a D8 LF1 6-speed automatic transmission. EPA fuel economy numbers for the 2.5-liter gasoline engine are 20 city, 29 highway for front drive, 20 city, 28 highway for all-wheel drive. The 1.6 hybrid model gets 36 city, 35 highway for front-wheel drive, and 35 city, 34 highway for all-wheel drive. Cargo capacity is 79.6 cubic feet for all models behind the front seats, with both the second and third row seats folded flat. Towing capacity is 4,500 pounds with trailer brakes. Minimum ground clearance ranges from 7 to just over 8 inches, depending on the model. Here's what I liked about the vehicle. The all-new 5th-generation Hyundai Santa Fe is one slick piece. Elegant, sophisticated, and evolved over the previous generations. Comparisons just don't do it justice. A panoramic sunroof adds to the airiness of the cabin. The interior boasts upscale appointments and accommodations. From the dual wireless chargers up front to the amazing front seat adjustments, which include knee and leg support with full reclining capabilities. A 2-tier glove box allows quick access to the important stuff you need to retrieve quickly. Second row passengers are not left out, with USB plugs easily accessible, built into the sides of the front seats. Heated seating is also a thing with the second row, with dual door mounted cup holders and a third deep door mounted bottle holder. One, it really works. Also, there's a deep center console for second row passengers with power reclining seats too. Fore and aft second row adjustments optimize available legroom for both second and third row occupants. Third row passengers aren't neglected either. They also get their own USB ports and climate controls. And this is just the interior. A power adjustable rear cargo door adds to the excitement, because you can adjust it too, which is pretty cool. As far as the driver is concerned, a head-up display provides important information within the line of sight without having to take their eyes off the road. The driver enjoys a good outward view. Underway, the Santa Fe is smooth and quiet. 4 drive modes: normal, sport, my drive, and snow, plus an auto hold button to keep it in lower gears longer, give drivers more options to optimize vehicle controls depending on existing conditions. Here's what I don't like about the vehicle. The full-size spare tire mounted on the underside of the vehicle at the rear, exposed to the elements. I'm not okay. And again, I've said this before, I'll say it again, it is not unique to Hyundai. Most American automakers do that. And I applaud the few that actually moved it to inside the car. And yes, the Chevy Equinox, which I own, happens to be one of them, where I don't have to go underneath the car to get it. Thank you, Chevy. I found that the radio station display in the infotainment module was quirky to use. And from rest, the vehicle seemed to need a nudge to get underway, and I'm wondering if that's maybe a software issue that needed a software update. Access to the third row of seating is cramped. The second door is small with no hand grips to facilitate entry and exit. The third seat itself is also cramped accommodations for 2 adults. You don't put friends back there. Just saying. And finally, in its quest to market a 3-row SUV, Hyundai has entered into the automotive industry dilemma of choice. A third row of seating with very limited cargo capacity, or less people hauling capacity and more cargo space. Outside of full-size SUVs, I've only encountered one that solved the problem. And that was the Toyota TX. The only one. The Lexus TX, the only one to solve the problem. The only one so far, if you're a midsize. Large, obviously, you've got the room, it's not an issue. So here's the bottom line. The all-new 5th-generation Hyundai Santa Fe SUV is a very sophisticated mode of transportation. Finished, sophisticated, and refined. Here's my question, though. Will this new vehicle steal sales from the larger and luxurious Palisade flagship SUV? I'm asking for a friend. Now, I asked Hyundai that question, and they felt that what they told me anyway, is they felt that the Santa Fe, even as it is, and the Palisade actually attracts two different types of buyers. Palisade's a 6-cylinder. The Santa Fe is not. But boy, the Santa Fe is so trick. I wonder. I really do. The base manufacturer suggested retail price for the 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe SUV starts from $33,950 for the SE front-wheel drive model, up to $48,800 for the Calligraphy hybrid all-wheel drive. Destination charges add $1,415. If you're thinking about a midsize SUV, folks, check this one out. Check it out. It is beautiful, and if you can get away without using the third row seat, trust me, you're better off, and I think it's a better vehicle without it. What do they mean when they say decarbonization? We explain that next. This is the Tech Mobility Show. Do you listen to podcasts? Seems that most people do. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. If you've missed any of our weekly episodes on the radio, our podcast is a great way to listen. You can find the Tech Mobility Podcast just about anywhere you can enjoy podcasts. Be sure to follow us. From Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many platforms in between, we are there. Just enter the Tech Mobility Podcast in the search bar wherever you listen to podcasts. Social media. It's the place to be, and we're no exception. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Several times a week, I post to TikTok several of the topics that I cover on my weekly radio show. It's another way to keep up on mobility, technology, news, and information. I've built quite a library of short videos for your viewing pleasure, so be sure to watch, like, and subscribe. That's the Tech Mobility Show on TikTok. Check it out. Decarbonization. It's a big word with plenty of meaning, especially when it comes to actually reviewing ways to accomplish just that. And we're going to take a walk into the world of decarbonization. You're about to learn some things and the tools used to accomplish it. This is topic B. So what is decarbonization? You've heard me talk about it, but let me take a step back, and I'm going to start with the simple explanation of what it is, and then we're going to talk about ways that right now businesses and organizations around the world are coming to grips with trying to do it. Here it is. Here's the simple explanation. Decarbonization is the reduction and removal of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. I'm going to read it again. Decarbonization is the reduction and removal of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. It is the critical response to climate change. You got to reduce the CO2, and then you got to actively remove it from the atmosphere. See, a lot of folks think it's just one thing of, okay, we're just going to reduce it. No, we have so much of it out there. We have to reduce what's already out there. Even if we stopped today, did not put another ton of CO2 in the air, we'd still be behind the 8 ball. So how are they doing this? What is going on? How are they removing this? I'm going to jump around a little bit. This is a McKinsey & Company white paper on decarbonization that I'm reading from. It's actually geared towards corporate America, and I managed to snatch it for you. Let me get into another term you may have heard. Now, the abbreviation is CCUS, but that stands for carbon capture, utilization, and storage. And what this is, it's a suite of technologies that address CO2 emissions at point source, industrial, and power facilities by capturing, concentrating, and purifying the CO2. Then it is compressed for transport to the location, will be stored or used, typically via pipeline networks, but sometimes by ship, truck, or rail. And the reason why I bring that up is this is a big deal in northern Iowa right now, that they're proposing a CO2 pipeline. So if y'all listening and you're in with the sound of my voice, let me fill out and add to what you already know. CO2 can also be used as a feedstock for manufacturing processes in which CO2 can displace other forms of carbon as input. These technologies offer a solution for many hard-to-abate sectors that rely on energy from fossil fuels, such as electric power, cement, and hydrogen production. So let me jump around a little bit. Let me hit you with this. For countries to achieve their current net zero commitments, carbon capture, utilization, and storage uptake needs to expand by 120 times its current level by 2050, and a little more than 25 years from now. CCUS, which is carbon capture, utilization, and storage, has emerged as an economically viable decarbonization lever across Europe and the United States. In 2023, the capacity of all those facilities under development have grown to over 420 million tons of CO2 per year, an increase of more than 40% from the year before. However, project pipelines are ambitious. Over the next 6 years, they expect this capacity to expand about 60 times in Europe, 9 times in the United States, but, quote, only a small number of projects are fully funded to date. About 15% of the announced projects are in conventional segments, such as gas processing. The rest are in newer segments, including cement and hydrogen and farming. Let me talk about there are two kind of major ways that you can sequester or otherwise mitigate CO2. I'm not going to read a lot of these because I got to try to get through this, but there are nature-based carbon removal solutions, and then there are industrial ones. The nature-based carbon removal solutions, wetland and peatland restoration, cropland, grassland, and agroforestry, reforestation and afforestation, and then something called blue carbon management. This one I'm going to read because I've never heard the term before. The benefits of enhancing CO2 uptake and storage in oceans and coastal ecosystems, such as mangrove forests and seagrass meadows, could improve maritime ecosystems and coastal resilience. The challenges could include regulatory uncertainty in international waters, such as monitoring, reporting, and verification issues. That is the natural way. And no doubt, again, some of my listeners, if you are stewards of the land, like I know many of you are, you may actually be doing some of this. What are some of the technology-based carbon removal solutions? I told you what the natural ones are. Let me give you this. And then I will come back to them as we have time. Something called biochar and bio-oil, which are produced from biomass, a general term for organic matter used as fuel. Biochar is spread to improve soil quality, and bio-oil is injected underground. The benefits could include more fertile soil. The challenges could include increased demand for biomass, feedstock, and land. Ocean alkalinity enhancement. I'll come back to that. Enhanced weathering. Bioenergy with carbon capture, direct ocean capture, and direct air capture. And we've talked about direct air capture, otherwise known as DAC, and storage. And it involves air passing through a solid or a liquid chemical filter that binds CO2, removing it from the air. Concentrated CO2 is stored in underground geological formations and could be deployed across a diverse range of geographies, but will require high energy and water usage. If you are an astute listener, you may remember me talking about this 2 or 3 years ago about an experiment going on in Iceland where they were doing that. But you needed to process so much air in order to remove any meaningful tonnage out of the air that it seemed almost like a fool's errand. They were doing it, but they realized that in order to be effective, they needed to step that way up. We have not peeked in on them to see where that is at now, but it's not as efficient as some of these other ways of doing it. Let me read one that disturbs me. I want to come back to it. I mentioned something called ocean alkalinity enhancement. And this is when alkaline substances are added to the ocean to enhance its natural propensity to absorb CO2. The word added scares me. Related challenges may include unintended impacts on marine ecosystems due to increased alkalinity, as well as regulatory uncertainty and on international waters. Yeah, no kidding. Another one I mentioned, and these are technology-based carbon removal solutions that I wanted to make you aware of. Let me hit this right quick. Enhanced weathering. It occurs when rocks and minerals are broken down to increase surface area, speeding up the natural processes that enable them to store carbon from the atmosphere. Improved agricultural productivity may be a benefit. The challenges could include a potential increase of trace metals that enter the local ecosystems. You've got natural, you've got technology-based. I haven't talked about the advantages of the market to fund this because there are carbon markets that they use to fund all this stuff. But this is a big deal, and there's a lot of moving parts. And we may revisit it again. It's way more than just a catchphrase or a term. Companies, farmers, folks all over are dealing with this. Reducing food waste is tougher than you might think. We discuss. We are the Tech Mobility Show. To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. That's techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show. Did you know that Tech Mobility has a YouTube channel? Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Each week, I upload a few short videos of some of the hot topics that I cover during my weekly radio program. I've designed these videos to be informative and entertaining. It's another way to keep up on current mobility and technology news and information. Be sure to watch, like, and subscribe to my channel. That's the Tech Mobility Show on YouTube. Check it out.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
Social media is the place to be these days, and we're no exception. I'm Ken Chester of the Tech Mobility Show. If you enjoy my program, then you will also enjoy my weekly Instagram videos. From the latest vehicle reviews to timely commentary on a variety of mobility and technology-related topics, these short features are designed to inform and delight you. Be sure to watch, like, and follow us on Instagram. You can find us by typing the Tech Mobility Show in the search bar. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, food waste is estimated at between 30 to 40% of the food supply. 30 to 40%. This equates to, and this is just in the United States of America, 133 billion with a B pounds of food, worth $161 billion. Oh, yeah, that's a year. And what year, you ask? That was from 14 years ago, those numbers, 2010. 2010. 30 to 40% of the food supply. 30 to 40%. That means 3 to 4 pounds out of every 10 pounds produced on the farm will be thrown away. Let that settle for a minute. Particularly if you're a farmer trying to make some money. Whether you're a produce farmer trying to make some money, 30 to 40% of what you plant, grow, and harvest will be ending up in the landfill. This has an impact, no doubt, on our quality of life. This is topic C. I want you to let this settle for a minute. The numbers go on to say that out of all the sources of food waste, the number one, at almost half, at 43% of all the waste, food waste generated in the United States happens at home. American consumers, the buck stops with you. You're throwing away stuff that you shouldn't, that you don't have to. What are we throwing away mostly? Two things. Mostly dairy products, because we just scared we don't want it to go bad, and stuff that we think is out of date. And if I got a minute, I will get into some of that, because some of that is misleading, courtesy of the food industry. You know what? Wait a minute. Let me just skip right to that, because they talk about a couple of terms. So let me break these terms down for you. You've seen it, best if used by, best by date. That describes quality where the product may not taste or perform as expected, but listen to this, but is safe to consume. If you are throwing food away because it's past the best of used by date, then you're wasting money. Here's the one that you need to pay attention to. If it says used by, not best of used by, used by. And that applies to the few products that are highly perishable and or have food safety concerns over time. If it says used by and you pass the date, then yes, you probably need to pitch it. We're no better than anybody else. Me and the missus at the home, we go through stuff every once in a while. We're probably as guilty. 43% of the food waste. And oh, by the way, in case I haven't mentioned this, that is the number one thing in landfills. The number one thing is food waste. Most of the landfills are filled with food waste more than anything else. Anything else. 40% of that waste is restaurants, grocery stores, food service companies. I can tell you, working at a grocery store, it pains me at the amount of stuff we throw away every single day. It doesn't get composted. It doesn't get given away. It gets thrown in the dumpster and it goes to the landfill. Even just composting the stuff would be better than sending it to the landfill, because it would create new stuff that you could use to improve the quality of the dirt used in farming. Contrary to public belief, only 16% of food waste happens on the farm. Variety of reasons. And this may surprise you. With all the food companies and all the product lines that they run, only 2% of food waste, 2%. And this 2% is from manufacturers. Food waste takes up more space in our landfills than anything else. Oh, you were wondering what that was globally? Thank you for asking me. Globally, that number is 1.4 billion tons every single year. That is ridiculous. Food spoilage, whether real or perceived, is one of the biggest reasons people throw out food. More than 80% of Americans discard perfectly good, consumable food simply because they misunderstand the expiration labels. Yeah, blame food manufacturers for that. Labels like sell by, use by, expires on, best before, or best by are confusing to people, and in an effort not to risk the potential of a foodborne illness, they'll toss it in the garbage. Yes, we will. Although me and the missus, we've had canned goods that have been 2 years old, past their date. The cans weren't damaged in any way. They weren't bloated. They probably were perfectly good. Did we pitch them? Yes, we did. And what they're saying is probably didn't have to, but we did. Compared to the rest of the world, food in the United States is plentiful and less costly, although if you've been in the supermarkets, you may beg to differ. And this often contributes to a general sentiment of not appreciating or valuing it the way other communities around the world do. So, if you don't want to do food waste, what can you do? Let me skip to that because they do. There is. I want to see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. And this is, yes, here it is. What is the food waste recovery hierarchy? There are many ways to reduce food waste in the United States and around the world, thanks to the food recovery hierarchy developed by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. There's a tiered system that prioritizes prevention and then diversion of wasted food, with the most preferable up front to the least preferable last. And there's 6 steps. Let me try to get through them rather quickly here. 1, source reduction. This goes back to the simple lesson of take only what you need. If we buy and create less food, we'll throw less out. About simply reducing waste, but not creating in the first place. Number 2, feed hungry people. 50 million people are expected to suffer from food insecurity, and that was in 2022. Number 3, feed the animals. Humans aren't the only one that need to be fed. The food scraps we toss after dinner each night can be saved from feeding farm animals, diverting more food waste from needlessly being thrown out. Number 4, industrial uses. Did you know the food you toss could be used to create biofuel and bioproducts that could power your car? Bet you didn't know that. Number 5, composting. It's near the bottom of the waste recovery hierarchy, but everybody's capable of doing that. Composting not only prevents your food waste from entering our landfill, but also improves soil and water quality, which in turn helps future crops grow. Number 6 is the least preferable. That's landfill or incineration. There's a hierarchy. Source reduction, feed hungry people, feed animals, industrial uses, composting, and landfill incineration. Even if we did the first 5, it'd be a market improvement. We've come to the end of our visit. Be sure to join me again right here next time. This has been the TechMobility Show.
The TechMobility Show is a copywritten production of TechMobility Productions Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use is prohibited without the written consent of TechMobility Productions Incorporated.
For those of you that listen to podcasts, we have just the one for you. Hi, I'm Ken Chester. TechMobility Topics is a podcast where I upload topic-specific videos each week. Shorter than the full show, these bite-sized programs are just the thing, particularly if you're interested in a particular topic covered on the weekly radio show. From Apple Podcast to iHeartRadio and many podcast platforms in between, we got you covered. Just enter TechMobility Topics in the search bar wherever you listen to podcasts. Social media. It's the place to be, and we're no exception. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the TechMobility Show. Several times a week, I post to TikTok several of the topics that I cover on my weekly radio show. It's another way to keep up on mobility, technology, news, and information. I've built quite a library of short videos for your viewing pleasure, so be sure to watch, like, and subscribe. That's the TechMobility Show on TikTok. Check it out. To learn more about the TechMobility Show, start by visiting our website. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the TechMobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the TechMobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. That's techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show. Do you listen to podcasts? Seems that most people do. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the TechMobility Show. If you missed any of our weekly episodes on the radio, our podcast is a great way to listen. You can find the TechMobility Podcast just about anywhere you can enjoy podcasts. Be sure to follow us. From Apple Podcasts to iHeartRadio and many platforms in between, we are there. Just enter the TechMobility Podcast in the search bar wherever you listen to podcasts.